Hey, everybody. In just a little over a week, I'll be turning 72, which is not an uncommon accomplishment in itself these days. But what has amazed me is how my life is opening up and becoming more exciting and unimaginable in my 70s than it has in any of my previous decades. I feel that a large part of this has to do with the wonderful and powerful people I seem to find myself surrounded by these days. Today you'll meet two of them, two friends I had the pleasure of introducing to each other last week, the result of which is the conversation you're about to hear. It was originally recorded as a podcast, although on this channel I've added a few photographs in case you like a mental picture of the two fascinating people you're listening to. So get into a comfortable chair, kick back, close your eyes, unless you're driving, of course, and enjoy this amazing conversation. I've included a link to the original podcast in the description below in case that's easier for you to access in your car. And I've also included links to more information about both Gary and Kelly. I love you, and I love that you're willing to spend time with me on my channel. As always, if you feel so inclined, hit the like and subscribe buttons as well as the notification bell so that you won't miss any of my future adventures.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Joshua Live. I'm Gary Temple Bodley. From time to time, I meet someone special and we have an amazing conversation, and then I get to share it with you. And that's what's happening today. My guest is Kelly Bowker. She is a channel that was introduced to me by my friend Daniel Hayes. And we got together and talked about being a channel and her experiences going through it. And she's relatively new to it, but she has some amazing qualities and powers. And I just wanted to share this conversation with you all. You can see more about her she was on Next Level Soul with Alex Ferrari, and they talk about how she gets started. She's only been doing this for just over 2 years now. She's relatively new, and all that conversation is in there. I don't really like to talk about how we got started because we tell that story so many times it gets boring. But if you want to listen to it, you can check out that podcast. In this conversation, we're just talking about what it's like to be a channel and to go through this process and what we've learned and how similar we are and how different we are. It's really a fun one. And she's actually probably going to be coming to our retreat here in May and do a live channeling session for our group, which she's never really done in person. She lives in a small town in Maine, so everything she does is on Zoom. So it'll be fun to have her here and have her see what it's like to channel in front of a live audience. All right, without any further ado, let's get started with today's episode. Hi, Kelly. I'm very excited to talk to you. It's fun to talk channel to channel.
I'm excited too.
Yeah. And so Daniel sent me all about you, and I watched your podcast on Next Level Soul. That talked a lot about how you came into being a channel. And so I'll leave the link to that in here. We don't have to go over how we get started because we both told that story so many times. So I thought today we would just have a conversation about what it's like to be a channel and what weird things that you're experiencing and where you are now, how comfortable you are now, and that sort of thing. So awesome. You channel a group of entities. Tell me how you found out the name, what it's like. Did new stuff come in? I watched that podcast that you had with Alex. Just let us have a little introduction into where you are right now.
When every interview that I have, they ask me, who do you channel? And I've almost begun to get a little flippant and say, who do I not? Because I don't really have what I would call a collective. When I began channeling, I brought through a group, and at that time I'd been watching YouTube videos, trying to figure out what was happening to me. I'd been meditating, and those videos told me I should ask the name. So I did, and I got the name La Cruz. And that energy was very familiar. Even just saying it makes my jaw shake. That's my physical tell, is my jaw. It was very familiar, very comfortable, so loving and so beautiful. And that's the information that's in my first book, actually, is that journey of personally asking questions, having them answer it, figuring that whole thing out, thinking I was bat crap crazy, really wondering about my own sanity because it's just such a remarkable thing. That was in January of 2022. And in June of 22, light language came through. And when light language came through, it's like they unplugged me from 110 and plugged me into 220. So now when people say, who do I channel? I channel what is being called forth.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm beginning to understand. It's whoever I'm sitting with, whatever their questions and their needs are, I'm a conduit. You know that. I'm holding space. I'm dead space, dead air. My guides actually called me a ventriloquist doll once. When I was having a crisis of life, I was really struggling with what is the responsibility of the channel to the answer to the question? What is that? What is Kelly's responsibility? And they came through me and said, would you blame the ventriloquist doll for the message that came through? And I did this. Really? You're calling me a damn, you know that they have wooden heads, don't you? And there was that bit of funniness and whatnot. And they have a lot of humor. I'm sure you know that. And that was when I began to get the impression, the comfort and the perspective that I'm just creating a conduit. I'm creating space, and what is needed to answer the question is what's going to come through for the highest good of the individual.
In your case, do you believe that you are a trance channel like Esther, like
No.
Christy, or a translator like me?
So you know what? A lot of these words I don't understand.
Hmm.
I don't really understand. I thought a trance channel was more like, I wouldn't have called Esther a trance channel. I would call like Theo.
Yeah.
That's more of a trance channel.
In
Bashar is trance channeling. I'm a very awake and alert channel. So I'm
yeah,
not sure what you mean by a translator. What does that mean?
you can be awake and alert, but those channels, and Christy's one too, they're able to surrender to it and let the energy take over. And that's most people. In Christy's case, they just do her voice box. So they'll speak through her. In mine, I'm just getting thoughts and I'm trying to keep up with them. They're rapid fire. I'm trying to pick the right words and hold on to it. And I'm exhausted
Oh,
at the end of it because it's Gary is perfectly aware of what's going on at the time. I don't
I
close
am
my eyes or anything.
I am perfectly aware of everything that's happening. I honestly don't know, Gary.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm definitely aware it is definitely a surrendering. And when the light language comes, they use my hands. I never know what's going to come through. Jeez, I don't know. I
Yeah, we
honestly
didn't know
don't.
either. In
I
fact,
don't know.
when I started channeling Joshua, I thought Esther was the only channel on the planet. I didn't know anyone else. And then I started investigating and finding others, and it's everyone is so different in
So
how
different.
they do it. Paul
Yeah.
Selig
Yeah.
whispers it and then
Oh
speaks
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely know there's times when so I have a group of angels that speak through me sometimes. They're in my second book. And I'll know. There's a feeling that I get, and it's, oh, here comes angel energy. I don't know which one it's going to be, and then what they'll start to come. I have channeled many different entities that have identified themselves with a name. I don't typically ask, but like when I get extraterrestrial energy, I can feel that. I know that I can feel that interdimensional kind of feeling. I don't even know how to talk to this. Honestly, isn't it interesting? Because I really don't. I really don't. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what I am.
Yeah. Well,
Half crazy, half the dad.
we don't figure this out for a while because we're
Mm,
all new to it.
yeah.
Uh, Christy started channeling first her guides, and then really quickly started channeling a group called the White Light. But she also channels her inner self and a few other groups. And she's a medium like you are. And so she brings through, of course, people's loved ones, but also specifically so that they can introduce the person to their spirit guides. So then she'll bring in spirit guides. And we had some amazing experiences like that.
Wow.
But it is interesting because most channels are one group or one entity, but you and Christy are
All, all
all over
over,
the place. Yeah. So you're
all
very
over. Yeah.
open channels. That
When
must be.
the Lacrosse energy, that was the first energy that I tapped into, that energy, because I've been a spiritual person my whole life, and that energy was familiar. And it was very, I would say, there was a lot of Christ consciousness in it because I was raised a Baptist. I had a lot of that kind of stuff a lot of it I had to really work to let go of to go on this journey. But now I don't do mediumship anymore. I just came to the place where I felt like it was too restricted for me. I didn't enjoy it anymore. And it took me calling out to my guides and saying, why do you keep sending me people who want mediumship? I don't like doing mediumship. When I heard myself say it, I'm like, okay, I get it. They were bringing more and more for me to get to that point of realizing this over here is my journey.
Right.
And boys, when you talk about do things stay the same, I want to ask you that. Do your abilities and the way things happen, does it change?
It's very interesting. As I shift my perspective and understand more and expand along this, I'm able to bring in new information. And so the message does evolve, definitely. And there's a lot of interesting things that have happened. But if you go back to the first book, everything's in the first book. So it's all there. As we expand, we understand more, we see more, we're available to more, but it's 100% from the very beginning. And it's all there available. So it's two parts. It seems as if the message expands and your powers get better and it's easier and faster. And then you go back to the first stuff you ever did and still as brilliant as 10 years later.
Yeah.
So you will
I
expand your understanding of this and your perspective of yourself on this. At first, when I did it, I'm like, who am I to be a channel?
Oh,
Right?
hallelujah.
And now I know I was born for this, that I am part of Joshua, that I know who my inner self is. I understand why my life was designed this way, understand why Christy and I are together. I'm a channel who now gets to ask questions to another channel all the time. Christy's an amazing channel, but she's a medium, but to her, it's exhausting. It's my favorite thing. Like when she's doing a medium session with somebody, I get on because I'm looking up the spirit guides and I'm helping the person who's in the session to understand what's really going on. It's a very spiritual medium session, whereas it's really helping the person to understand where they are now and how these spirit guides are popping in and being forward for this time in their life and what they're telling them about who they are. But this idea of raising your perspective of yourself in your life means you are meant to do this. You've always been meant to do this. Your life has been perfect for you to be able to do this, that you're a very advanced soul, old soul, and that this is your calling. That's why you're doing it. At the first, you can't understand that, but then you will learn that. And so the more that you can give yourself credit for who you are and what you bring to the table, the more fun it becomes.
Yeah. And it is interesting exactly what you're saying, because we could pick any branch of this tree and you are exactly right. So right now, I'm getting what feels like really new information and guidance around the potential of transmuting energy to heal, help heal people.
All right. This is
And
really interesting to me right now.
yeah,
We're doing
and
the same thing.
well, it's very interesting to me too, but it's also really overwhelming. It's very overwhelming. But the very first mediumship, they dropped this memory into my head just recently because so I've had two really quite remarkable happenings, one-to-ones with people where dramatic events happened and I see this stuff and it's completely new. What happens to me was completely new. I had visions, I was interacting with this vision, and I think it was a past life for this person. I don't think it, I know it. I know it was a past life. And I went into the past life and I'm directing it. I'm up here watching. Kelly's not doing anything. I'm watching, but we are directing energy. We are light languages coming, blah, blah, blah. And then it was very remarkable. It was really remarkable. And it scared the living crap out of me because all I could think of is, what if people come to me and say, okay, I want you to do that? I don't know how to do that. I didn't do nothing. I just was sitting here. That's all I did. And so that was really overwhelming to me. I even got sick. I come down with a cold because I was so out of whack.
Hmm.
And this was only about a month ago. And then I was doing a class where I was meeting regularly with a group. And I said to them, I said, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. I am energetically, I am not okay with, I don't know where to go from here. I feel afraid. I feel unworthy. All these friggin' human emotions were boiling to the surface. And I asked the guides before I sat down to this with this class, because I know when I gather with groups, boys, that turns the energy way, way up. So I knew I was going to get what I needed. I knew I would. But I asked them, I said, give me the question. I need to know what to ask. And I wrote down in the journal to bring to the class I think I've even said it. What is the responsibility of the channel to the answer to the question? And they brought through the most beautiful download of understanding around how it isn't Kelly's responsibility. It is whatever is right for you. If we're doing a one-to-one, your higher self is bringing through me what is needed, whether the human you think it's what you need or not. So you could
Absolutely.
be you could think this was absolute hog crap. And that's okay. You get to think that. And I get to be completely comfortable and know that I've served. I've done what I was supposed to do. I held the space and the beings did what the beings did.
Yeah.
And then that's all there is to it. But that and it's changing. It's changing every day. I've pulled back. I've closed my calendar. I had my calendar open. I've closed my calendar. I now wait for nudges to say if I'm going to do any one-to-one appointments. I'm having people, they're emailing me and I'm putting them on a list, and it's okay, that's the way we're going to do it, because it's going to feel right or I'm not going to do it.
I have
And
a
it's the same thing with my groups. I'm doing the same thing. If I feel the nudge, I put out an email and I say, hey, we're gathering. Come on if you can. Don't if you can't. And I know that I trust that whoever's supposed to be there is going to be there.
100%.
Yeah.
This just brought up a whole bunch of things for me. One is we need a support group for channels
Yes.
because you
Yes.
feel like you're alone.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
The second one is when you get colds, that's a way to transmute the energy. The energy is getting stored up there, the emotional stuff. And so it's easy to come out in colds.
Yeah.
What we've learned to do is activations, which we'll talk about. You asked
Okay.
about that before. And that helps the body keep up. The body has to keep up with the mind and the soul. And this is a mind, body, soul thing, and we don't keep the body up. Colds is generally what happens when people aren't keeping up the energy there, which is, you don't know how to do it. But when you asked your guides for that question, you did what has been taught to us from the very beginning, which is ask and it is given. Remember that book?
Yes.
You have to ask for help. They do
That's
not
right.
jump in and give it to you unless you ask.
That's right.
Everything that you want, you can ask for. Now, you may not be in the space to receive it always. You might be out of alignment, but if you can get into alignment and ask for what you need, you will get it every time. You talked about light language coming through. 2 years ago, I would have said light language is a bunch of poppycock. It's woo, it's not true. And for the last year, we've been doing activations with all kinds of light language.
Oh, yeah.
We use Christy, Chris, and Crystal. Christy speaks angelic light language. Chris is dragon and others. They all do others. And then Crystal is with her hands, brings in this energy with her hands. How did it come to you?
As you're saying that, I'm hearing in my head, you do it all. And I
Mhm.
believe I do, because my hands. So I'm laying there, and I don't say that from an ego place. I can tell you, I'm just trying to understand it, because
Right.
I got a nudge on each one of those things. So I'm laying there in June doing a meditation, doing channeling. I've got my phone on my chest. I'm channeling away, and all of a sudden, I start to get this wave of energy. It starts at my feet, and it just starts to roar up through me. It just starts to roar up my body. When it starts, I start speaking light language and my hands start to go. My
Mhm.
mouth is going 100 and my hands are going right with it. And I'm in my head going, holy shit, what's happening? Now, long story long, I did speak in tongues when I was a young woman
Which do
in
you
in the
recall
Pentecostal.
now that being in Baptist church, that speaking in tongues was a form of light language?
Oh, absolutely.
Isn't that crazy?
100%. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100, because you're slayed in the spirit. You have surrendered to the Holy Spirit, and it is the Holy Spirit.
Mm,
It is. It's just different language for the same thing. So anyway, this starts rolling through, and I don't know how it is for you. For me, it's instantaneous. It's like telepathy. I'm in my head crying out to my guides. I'm scared because it was scaring me.
yeah.
They say to me, then stop. And I say, is this for my highest good? And they say, yes. I say, don't leave me. And they pull their energy around me. I feel them pull, but they leave the front open. They pull around me and they say, we never leave you, Kelly. And they held me. And I thought when I was hunting to listen to this, I thought it was going to be like a 30-minute thing. It's 9 minutes. It was very short. It felt like a long time. And the light language came, and the only English words that were spoken were, so I can talk to my brothers and sisters.
Mm,
And that freaked me out because at that point I had not embraced the interdimensional nature of this world. And I just kept holding it away because I couldn't wrap my brain around it.
right.
But I don't know your experience. My experience is my team, my connection is so kind and so loving and so supportive. And they have told me that we have an agreement that Kelly not be afraid, because I don't like to be afraid. So they are very gentle with me. They're very gentle with me and they've brought me along. But what I was going to say to you about that whole thing about going back to the beginning, my very first mediumship, I had forgotten that I did it in person. I haven't done a ton in person, but I did it in person with a coworker. And I felt just this incredible pull. And I said, can I lay my hands on your knees? And when I laid my hand on her knees, I could just hear in my mind, I heard the word healer.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking, because this is only a month after I channeled the first time, I'm like, frig that shit. I don't know what the hell they're talking about, but it ain't nothing to do with this. But recently, as this is unfolding, they reminded me of that.
Yeah.
And it all, for me, Gary, it all goes back. I think that just the Abraham Collective has a message, a core message. Like she says, we have one answer. You ask all these questions, you got one answer. And it's true, it is one answer. My guides, the theme of their teaching has been yes, the law of attraction, yes, manifestation, all of that, the power that we have, yes, but also that you humans are hampered because of the programming of the subconscious mind. We're held back from taking that emotional journey up that scale because we've got that little girl inside screaming, who the hell do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are?
Right.
So it's why we struggle to manifest. It's where the law of attraction left me wanting. It was like it didn't make any sense to me.
We
So
call it being stuck in the law of attraction.
being stuck, and that's exactly what it is, and it's what our world. We were born to this earth to find our way back to loving ourselves unconditionally the way we are loved by source. When we can find in this dimension that energy of self-love, we've been trained, the subconscious programming has trained us to think it's doing good works, it's helping the world, it's what can I do for the world. Turn those hands onto yourself. That's what they're calling us for.
You cannot do anything unless you heal yourself first.
That's
Healing
exactly
is
it.
becoming. What I've come to understand now is you have a perspective of yourself in every area of your life. In the areas where your life is going well, say your marriage, you have a very high perspective of yourself in that area. If you're not doing well in health, other relationships, or money, or whatever, you have a limited perspective. That limited perspective has a whole set of limiting beliefs. We are a
Yeah.
bundle of limiting beliefs. What
Right.
Joshua teaches is how to soften those beliefs so that you can receive inspiration and take action. The action has information in it. That experience has information. If you can see that experience as perfect, you'll get the information, and this will change those beliefs. Because if you can go through an experience where you always feel fear, every time you receive inspiration, you feel a bit of fear, but if you could push past that fear, have the experience, then look back at the experience, seeing it as perfect, you'll get the information. That information fills in the holes of the limiting beliefs. They become empowering beliefs. You do this over and over again, and over time, your perspective rises. As your perspective rises, your vibration rises. You rise up into higher, lighter, easier densities with less fear, and this process becomes exponential. In the work that we've been doing over the last 10 years, you can see these spectacular changes in people, incredible changes. They come from a place like we all are of doubt and who am I and fear, and then they transform into these super powerful people. And along the way, their empathic abilities come on. So a lot of people become healers, a lot of people become teachers, coaches, becoming psychic. This is what happened to Christy. Christy took our course, the boot camp, and she took it 8 times. You have to take it over and over again to really understand it, because each time you take it, you raise your perspective, you see what you didn't see before. It seems like a different course. She did it 8 times, and boom, everything comes on. She is the most powerful psychic in the world. She's an amazing channeler, medium. She can find things anywhere. She's got her purse stolen at a club she went to the other night, and she located it, took the security guards right to where it was, and everything was in it except for her phone. She's found stuff for all of us. It's this girl. She can go back in time. So you look at a building and I'll ask her, when was that built? She can go back and see the lot and the guys preparing it and know the date of it. These are the things that are happening to all kinds of people when their perspective shifts. We're actually moving out of a lower density into a higher density, eventually towards 4th density. And this is what we've gotten recently in these things we're doing, the activations in the light language. When you had the light language came through, what did it sound like to you? What does it sound
different.
Like?
It sounds different all the time.
Yeah.
There's
different dialects, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
So,
for different things.
I would never believe this.
Right. I agree.
We first heard the word activations, we were like, we're not doing this. And then we were joking that we're going to get famous for these activations. But it's very interesting to see what this light language is. And we're really getting into a lot now.
It is incredible. Yeah.
Now, I see with a lot of people who are healers and teachers, right? So the teachers, a lot of them get into some profession where they're teaching, whether that's in a school or something else. And a lot of healers are starting off as nurses. You started off as a nurse and a teacher.
I did.
Is that funny?
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense now, doesn't it?
It does. Oh yes, there's no question that it all falls into place.
You have times where you have to pull back and get clear and then start again. What does it feel like to need a little break?
When the thing happened, I don't know if you'd want me to tell you about that or not, but
whatever you feel like it. I'm fascinated.
So, okay, I'll tell you about it. My process typically is once I shift, the guides take over and they're going to do whatever. And they've got a repertoire. They're either going to, sometimes light language comes, sometimes toning, the tone, sometimes it's sung, all of that stuff. It's all part of their repertoire of whatever's needed in the moment. So I had a lady on the channel with me on Zoom. We'd had about a 45-minute time. It was great. We'd gotten some beautiful stuff and great energy had come through. And then I'm drinking my tea and I look at the clock and I see we've got 15 minutes. And I say, we've got another 15 minutes. Do you have another question? She says, I've got one more thing on my list. She said, but I don't imagine you can do anything. And I said, let's hear it. She said, I've had ankle pain my whole life. When my mother told me that it was growing pains, she said, I've been to every doctor as an adult. So I'm in my head thinking, shoot, I don't know. I don't have any idea what to do about that. But the guides sometimes they do stuff and who knows what's going to happen. Usually when I would do that, like sometimes I'll feel a drawing forward. I feel like I'm moving energy through the person's energy field. It'll feel draggy, and I'll call the angel of that chakra in, and they do some extra work in that area. I don't really know what's happening. I get these nudges. I'm just, whatever they're telling me, whatever they're saying it all. So I call in an angel or whatever. Again, I say, I don't, they do. But usually it's like what I'm seeing in my mind is I'm seeing like maybe a cyclone of energy, or I might see color, or I might see like angel energy come in, that kind of stuff. But I don't see like vivid pictures. This particular day, I know more than I do. A couple of tones just connect. And then it's like in my mind, it just opens up, and I am standing and I am looking into, just like I can look around this room, I'm looking into a cave. I see a big boulder. I can see it right in my mind right now. I see a big boulder there. I see what looks, I mean, it was rock, but it's probably where the person might have slept over there. I see a cave or a cavern, going out of this big space over here is like a tunnel. And I'm standing there, and the guides are doing stuff. Light language is coming. My arms are going, and Kelly's over here going, holy crap, what is happening here? I'm just watching. On the floor of this cave, there is a wretched being who is shackled. They've got shackles around their ankles, and they are bolted to the wall. And Kelly's personality over here is going, holy shit, wow, what is going on here? And again, lots and lots of, I'm directing energy. I see these light beings and I'm sending them into this area. Wow, just like I knew what I was doing. I had not a clue what I was doing, but I'm doing crap. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it. I'm doing it all. So up out of the center of the cave floor arises a being that I know is Angel Michael. Don't know why I know it, but I know it. He's all dressed in black. He's big. It looks very leather-like in stuff on his body, and he's got a sword on his back. He reaches that sword, he goes whoosh, and then boom, and the sparks fly on one of the chains, and the shackle falls off that leg. And he does whoosh, boom, and the shackle falls off this leg. And I then see 4 angels holding this person as they're laying. This person is beat up, emaciated, dirty, ragged clothing. I don't really see, and this time I don't see male or female, but I see these 4 beautiful angels are holding them. And there's all these light beings in the room too. And I'm giving lots of directions. It's almost like we're cleaning house is what it felt like there. Behind that, in that corner, under that, over there, boom, we're doing all this stuff I'm helping Angel Michael do whatever it was that he did. And then the angels are holding. And then I see from the feet up, just like on a Disney movie, I see this body transform. No more dirt, no more emaciated, clean, beautiful robes on. And it didn't go all the way to the face. It went just about to here, and I could see beautiful golden hair laying on both shoulders. And then I think we were done. We were done. And I was sobbing. She was sobbing. I felt all this incredible energy. Her experience of it, she had probably 24 hours of pain-free. We contacted each other. We had a phone call, and she was messing with it in her head. Who am I to have a healing? And I was beside myself. I didn't know how to really even support her except to tell her it's okay. This is a process. I don't know what's happened. I don't have a clue what happened, but it happened, and we're thankful that it happened. Let's just see what happens. And so then the pain came back. She watched the movie again. She told me she got about 12 hours relief out of that when she watched the recording again. And I haven't heard back from her. And I think that she's having an intuitive sense of her. I think she might be worried about disappointing me, that she's not healed, that it came back. That put me, the question that originated the story was, how does it feel? I was absolutely overwhelmed and lost in this thing that happened. I felt everything that a human would feel. And I knew I just needed a break. I had to not think about things. And so I said my own prayers to my own team, and I just said, and I didn't have to because I could hear them, just need to rest. And they also always say, go back to basics. And what basics is, settle into the present moment, know you are loved, know you are perfect, everything is okay. There's nothing going wrong. Everything is okay. The magic of the present moment. Just breathe into the present moment. And so I went snow sledding for the weekend. Played and had fun with Michael, and didn't, every time I'd think about something spiritual, I'd push it away and I'd be like, no, gotta rest. I gotta rest. And it was that happened on a Wednesday, I believe. And it was the following Monday was when I said, I want to know what to ask so I can get what I need. I need an answer. And they
Yeah.
gave me that question and I answered. And I've also done what I would call, I've pulled in the wagons. I've changed the way I do things. I think I've shared that already. I've put up some boundaries because I feel like, you know what? I have gotten an incredibly clear vision that this is my journey and that I had the cart before the horse. The teacher in me was considering, what is your experience of this going to be? And I've let that go.
Right.
I put that in the hands of God. Your experience is your own responsibility. If you have come to me for a one-to-one, I'm going to just let whatever happens, and I'm going to get up and walk away, and I'm not exhausted. You talk about you guys both having a lot of fatigue. I don't have the fatigue.
Yeah.
I feel mostly empowered and good when I'm done doing any of this stuff.
Yeah. Christy's like that too.
And that one big thing, the seeing has happened one more time. And then some other weird shit's happening. I've had a couple of downloads that they've given me really clear instructions about how to interact with the energy of ill help, how to be the conduit, how to be the portal for this energy.
It is first of all, it seems like you're getting a rocket ride where mine was fun and easy and flow. And then things happened and I didn't take any quantum leaps except for that one experience. And then Christy comes along and I'm able to help her through it. I've been doing this 10 years. I started when I was 50. I'm 61 now, like you are, I believe.
Yep.
But you're getting up to speed very quickly. And that can be scary because
it is scary.
When I first started doing this, I really wanted to help people. And of course, that's definitely there. But I thought that what I was doing was enough. And what I learned was that, no, the people have to do the work. And when Christy does medium sessions with people who are not in the spiritual work that we do, it's lost on them. It's really an inefficient use of her time. It's excellent and fun to watch, but they're not getting it.
Yeah. And those experiences are exhausting.
They're exhausting.
They are exhausting. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
My guides gave me a sentence once. They said, when you are too invested in the energy, it wears you out.
Yeah. What Christy is finding is that she has to lift their perspective so that they can communicate and bring in, as she is a conduit. And with people who aren't in this spiritual work at all, it's a lot of heavy lifting and she's holding them up. With people who are in our community and doing the courses and doing the work, it's so much easier and they get it. Now they get it because they've already shifted their perspective. That who am I to have this healing, or who am I to have this reading, or who am I to have spirit guides talk to me? That's not there with them because they've done the work. And that makes it so much more enjoyable for us and easier for them too. But you have to let go of the outcome.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I've learned that. That's been the hard thing to learn. You know, as a teacher, I taught for 23 years, and it was all about making sure you kept the students engaged. Have they gotten it? Have they figured it out? That I was experiencing that kind of, are they getting their bang for their buck? I've been a woman who's been very poor in my life. And so if charging people to do this, I was very conscientious thinking, I want to make sure they get their money's worth. Now it's like, that all has gone. That is just gone. I realize that it is my very first book is called Redefining Faith. And this really has been about me redefining faith. I just
Yeah.
have to trust and know that I'm doing the best I know how to do. And I have not been led to any teacher. When I took one Suzanne Giesemann, I downloaded one mediumship class. And when it was time to download another one, every bit of liquid money that Mike and I had disappeared. He had worked, we usually, once he does foundations for a living. So usually like 4 or 5 weeks in, you start having money rolling in. None, still none. And I'm like, we were fine, but not extra money. And so finally one day I'm like, I say to my guys, what is going on with this crap? I'm not loving this. And that's when they dropped it into my mind. And I'm like, oh, you took away all my extra money. And they're
Yep.
like, we didn't take it away. We just got it out of your path. Because then they said, we will be your teachers.
Of course.
We will be your
course.
teachers.
Yeah.
But damn, it's like reinventing the wheel every day. I don't know if that's what I'm supposed to be doing. It feels sometimes I think, yeah, but then sometimes I think, gosh, if other people have learned some tricks to this, I wouldn't mind a few tricks. I wouldn't mind a little easier sometimes. It's,
Here's what I have learned that might help you. If you can look at everything that comes through you as specifically for you, not for the other person, it's all for you. The faster you get up to speed, the easier it is for you. And Josh will be answering someone's question. It's for me.
It's for me.
Also, I've learned that in the book, in your book, in these books, there are 5 sentences for every sentence. And people read things that are at their level. And it's a different book every time.
Yeah.
There are 5 sentences coming out when I'm channeling, and people hear different things.
Right.
It is so different than what we think it is. This reality is completely different. If you understand that all of this is for you, and these people are coming to you so that you have a reason to do it.
Gary, honest to God, that is exactly that knowing is what has been coming. It's been on the periphery for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And I even said it I had my last Monday night class and I said, you guys might not like this. I said, but you got to understand, this is my journey.
Yeah.
This is my journey. This is about me and my growth. And I believe that when I shine my light, which I do, because I am just so filled with love for this world and for the people in it, and for the beings that are outside of it and across dimensions, I shine my light. And I know that helps everything.
Of course.
But it is about my journey.
Mm-hmm.
I was up there and I said, hell yeah, send me to planet Earth. I'm going to give it a whirl. And this is me giving it a whirl and finding my way back to who I really am.
Yeah.
And as I have wrapped my mind around that, and it's so validating to hear you say it, it gives me, it's not that we need it, but God dang it, it's nice to hear. It gives you that permission.
Exactly.
Because people look at you and they're like, you're being selfish. No, I'm not being selfish. I'm surviving this. This is a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And it's wonderful. And I love it. And the knowings, I said, and it's so cool. My God, this is just, it's resonating completely. Because just recently I said, I live in an itty bitty town. I don't have exposure to the world. I need a way for people to energetically find me. But yet I'm not going to have all my time taken up by people who it's not divinely orchestrated. Just like Christy experiences, when we get people who are not within the bandwidth, they're not on the frequency, they can't hear our words. That's not fun. And it just is, and it's exhausting. That's why I'm doing things the way I'm doing it. I've got different ways that I have put out into the world if you want a one-to-one with me, send me an email and I will put you and you'll get first refusal. And I think what I believe happens is my guides having coffee with their guides,
Sure.
they give them a nudge, they end up reaching out to me, and then it's the perfect storm. It's the perfect combination.
What I realized early on was that it's an inefficient use of my time to do one-on-one. If I do a one-on-one, I'm making it into a podcast or I'm posting it, or it's for someone very special. I channel twice a week in front of large groups, and that becomes a podcast that goes out to millions of people. There is a way of thinking of this that when you realize how incredible it is, that you want to share it with the most people and don't take your time up just one-on-one unless you are able to put on YouTube or podcast or something like that, because it's for everyone as well. Yeah. And when we do the Joshua Lives, there's 4 or 5 questions and every single person says, oh, that question was exactly the one I was going to ask.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I don't know. There was a time when I could sit and say that, like, they gave me this process called the sandbox process.
Oh,
And that part of my process was that I would think about the next interview. I would think about the next thing that would generate my relationship with the world. I don't really think about those things anymore. And it's not like I'm not terribly busy. I'm retired and I wanted to be retired. So for me, I sit in the energy of yes. And the wonderful, beautiful anticipation that the next most awesomest thing is coming right around the corner. I love the idea of large groups. I don't know how to go about making a large group. Maybe someday there'll be a large group. I'm open to it. Yes, I say yes, but I'm also open to whatever happens. I just follow the breadcrumbs.
it is a process where you expand your perspective of yourself and then you access inspiration that you're ready for at that time.
Yeah.
And you'll just be led from one thing to one thing, and it'll be the perfect thing for you.
That's exactly how it's working.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it's working. This meeting with you was those yellow brick road things. I had a one-to-one with Dan. He and I just really just immediately. And one of my prayers for the world, again, I live in a town of under 1,000 people, and I've lived here my whole life. So now you think of your world and all that you've been exposed to.
Yeah.
Then think about me.
There's a
With
reason.
none of that kind of experience. It's nuts. It's beautiful. I love my life. I love my marriage. I've got a wonderful life, but it's very different. And so about 4 or 5 years ago, way before my awakening, I was in the energy of just crying out to God. I need people that I can share, because even before the big stuff happened, I still was a big thinker. I've always been a big thinker, a deep thinker.
Sure.
And I needed people to talk to. I needed people to share with. When Dan talked to me about going to New York, I'm like, I want to do that. Can I come? I love the idea, but I went to one thing where I just participated and I felt the energy was behind my face, just wanting to come out, and it was almost painful holding it back while these other people did their thing. So that was hard. So I just don't know how it's all going to unfold. I really don't.
How would you like to come to our retreat in May and be in front of everyone here? There's 20-something people, and they're all high levels. They're all very familiar with it. They've been doing it a long time. Dan will be here, and you can have a session in front of 25 people.
Oh my God, that'd be cool.
I'll send you all the info, and
All right,
then
send me the
you
info.
can come and check it out. Yeah, if you want to take a trip to North Carolina.
Those are the kinds of details that will hold me back, because I haven't been a traveler.
Yep,
Could I bring a friend with me?
of course.
So that you might be an axe murderer. You have to factor in the axe murderer part. You have to realize that I was raised by a man that used to say to me, God bless my daddy. He loved me dearly. And he said this from love. He would say, oh, honey, no. Oh, no, you can't do that. You're just a girl. Someone might steal you.
Yeah.
So I'm 61 years old looking around the corner wondering who the hell's trying to steal me, right?
This is called a driver. We all have drivers.
Yeah.
And they create whenever you're inspired, they create the talk that says you can't do that.
Right.
Of course, millions and millions and millions of people travel every day.
That's right. That's
Right.
right.
There's no problem.
That's right.
Hardly any axe murderers.
Hardly any.
Hardly any. Relatively few.
Oh my God. I would love to do that. I would love to do. Yes. So yeah, I'm saying yes. I'm saying yes. It's in May.
The more experiences you have, the more you'll open up.
Right.
We all have limiting beliefs and we all have these fears. You have an experience, that fear goes away.
Right.
You take a trip, you do a spur of the moment. Yeah. Don't know where you're going to stay. You don't know who these people are. You don't know what it's like. Can't imagine meeting everyone. Dan, there's no accident he's here. And you'll end up staying in a beautiful place and enjoying yourself fully and having experiences you never had before.
That sounds awesome.
And then you'll shift to another perspective, and then
Right.
you'll have access to all kinds of different things. And when you meet Christy and me and see what we're doing, and we are immersed in people. We have people around all the time.
It's easy for me to be in front of people for the most part.
And you'll be around big thinkers.
Yeah.
The conversation that you'll have with everyone who's here will just be at a different level altogether. It'll be the most fun thing.
Awesome.
You have obviously a very high intellect.
That's a thought.
Yeah, you do. You couldn't do this
Yeah.
if you didn't. There's also a lot of us brought in a memory. A lot of us who are doing this, we had one memory that we could bring in. Most humans don't have a memory. We had one. My memory was there's something special about me. Chrissy's memory was she could not die. As a little kid, do you recall any memories? Any ideas you had about yourself?
I actually always did think that there was something special about me.
Yeah. That's not normal.
That I was
And
different.
also
that I
you
was, that
felt
I
your
was
heart.
different.
Yeah, you felt
Oh,
love.
I
That's
did.
not normal either. Yeah,
It's
Chrissy's like
not.
that too. Mm-mm.
Yeah. No. When I was a little girl, I could pray and I just would feel that. I felt that connection. I felt that love. I knew I was loved.
Yeah.
I knew I was loved. And the other thing that's different that I'm now realizing, because I know that I've even written this in my journal from years and years ago, and I've said it to friends over the years. I can ask a question in my head and get an answer. And that's not normal.
Claircognizant.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I didn't know it at the time. And I certainly never trusted it. God forbid you trust anything that comes from this brain. But I am learning to trust that. Oh my God, this is glorious. It's glorious.
There's so many abilities. I have pretty much one thing. I have this clear connection with Joshua. I'm a part of Joshua, but that's Joshua. That's a little bit different than it was in the beginning. And I am somewhat of a healer too. But the visions that you and Christy get and the openness of all that's at another level. That's rare too. A lot of people are like me, where it's channeling one group.
Yeah.
But to you to be a medium and to be claircognizant, to be a channeler, to get these visions, to be a healer, there's a lot going on there.
There's a lot.
Very interesting.
There is a lot going on.
Yeah.
I remember the day that I was on the phone. It was probably, it was in the first year. It was the October of the first year of this journey. I'm on the phone to a friend, and she's one of the people that's getting ready for Armageddon. She's putting by food. This was coming off COVID and all that. And she's talking, and usually she's a dear friend of mine. And generally, we know that we have these differences, but we love each other completely. And we just talk about different stuff. But for some reason, her fear got her, and she's going on and on about this. And I'm in my head thinking about what I knew at that time about creating my own world. And I'm thinking, I get this question. It's like, how, when I hear the passion in her voice about her beliefs, and I know she's creating her own reality too, how can her reality be this Armageddon and my reality be rainbows and unicorns? How does that work? As that thought starts to form in my mind, I start to feel all funny. My knees start to feel funny, my feet, my hands, I think I'm having an event, like a cardiac event. I start feeling really weird. My chest feels weird. So I hang up. I say, I gotta go. And so I hang up. I'm feeling all this weirdness, but and this was in the beginning. So weird crap happens to me all the time. Now I realize you just got to hang on. So I stand up And I just get nailed with this wave of energy. Thankfully, there was a couch right there. I twist
Mm.
my body, I fall on the couch, my feet stay on the floor, and I just get this of pictures in my head. And I am grunting and clenching and carrying on and hanging on for dear life as all this friggin' energy and all this knowing in it. It just whoosh. What I saw, do you remember Tinker Toys?
Mm-hmm.
One of the big visions in my mind was I saw the universe filled with Tinker Toys. And the little round brown thing was
Mm-hmm.
the present moment. And out of every single one of those present moments, there was all of these limitless potentials and possibilities. And then on top of each one of them, limitless. On each one of them, limitless. And on it went. And I'm laying there having no understanding about this, having no knowledge of the multiverse, no knowledge of anything. They gave me the multiverse in that download. Then they showed me from my center, they showed everything bursting forward from this center, these limitless potential timelines, and that I'm on this like boogie board. All humans are on this boogie board on these timelines doing this. And it's according to where our frequency is. Where are we vibrating in this present moment is where we're going to be. And then the other big thing that came through to me in that download was they said, there is a timeline where exactly what Crystal is seeing is going to happen. And she has a version of you in that timeline. And she's probably feeding you because she loves you and you don't have any food. And there is also a timeline where I'm going to have my unicorns and rainbows. And that was all complete new information, but I knew it to be true.
Yep.
That's the kind of crap that's happening to me all the time. And I'm along for the friggin' ride. I'm along for the ride.
Ruth and I were out on the porch here late at night one time, and we've been spending just us together. And there's a million different things that I can tell you. We call them unimaginable experiences where you can't really explain them.
Mm-hmm.
But we're facing each other, and she just suddenly looks at me like in a way that she's never looked at me before, and her jaw drops. And I'm like, "What are you seeing?" What? And she goes, "Oh my God, I see God in you. You're a God to me." And as soon as she did, boom, I'm channeling God. And what I saw was her as a child of God. And my whole vision was this earth is a playground. You can do anything you want. If you want to play, go ahead. There's no rules. You can do anything. You want to make it an apocalypse, you can do that. There's no rules. Anything you want. It's not serious. It's just an experience. You can play at any level you want to play it. And then we thought right then and there that we destroyed reality because we were the first to have this seeing God, channeling God, seeing child of God, all this stuff. And we got really, scared. And Chrissy was like, "I guess this is it. We're done. The whole thing's done." And I said, "Think about your daughter, Lily. Let's stay in here."
Yeah, right.
We went right back. So it only lasted like 5 minutes, but I just saw the whole world as a playground. And that's what it is.
It is.
So there's nothing serious.
One of the most recent downloads that they gave just me, I wasn't doing anything with anybody else. It was me and my own meditation. They showed me Physical Kelly as the avatar. I'm literally in a game and they're showing me and this avatar is walking around and they show me my higher self with the control, sitting on the couch with the controller. And I make these turns and I get the magic boots and I make this turn, I get this. Then I make a turn and I blow up and I go back to the beginning and I get pissed. And I say to Mike, because this is me doing this back and forth with my guys. I say, I like my life. Don't you friggin' blow me up. I like what I'm living. I promised Michael Bowker that I was going to live a long time with him. I'm living with my Michael. So I'm pissed right off. So the next thing they show me is remember when we used to be able to go to the stores and rent the games and the movies and stuff, all the big stuff. And so they show me this wall filled with video games. And they said, every one of those video games is at your disposal. every one of those games has a way to win. It has the ta-da moment. The one who's running the controller is going to get you to the ta-da moment if you let him.
If you let them.
If you let him.
If you can receive the inspiration and act on the inspiration.
And act on the inspiration. That's exactly it. And I was like, oh my God, it's all about us.
Mm-hmm.
It is all about us. But yet, when we shine, people are drawn to us. And doors open and experiences happen. And it's so friggin' awesome. How did this little country girl get on Alex Ferrari's show? It was a yellow brick road. It was the most magical thing in the world. And that's how everything just keeps happening for me. Just one serendipity after another. What you said was so perfect as far as when I'm in my one-to-ones and I'm getting this information and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's what they're telling me. That's what they're telling me. Oh, okay, I get it. They're talking right to me, through me, to them, and they're getting it too. It's for them too, but it's like, holy cow, this is friggin' awesome.
You also got in the vibration of yes.
Oh,
right?
Yes.
That is the key.
The night before Christmas, when I wrote my second book, they gave me this. They said, it's the night before Christmas. Now, you're my age. You remember having the Sears and Roebuck catalog. Remember the toy catalog that come out at Christmas time? And oh my God, we would circle stuff and dog ear things. Santa didn't have a budget. Anything was possible. They said the energy of having that any single thing is possible, feeling of absolute limitless potential and possibility. And that's how I'm really trying to live. I really am trying to live that way. And it's beautiful. And if there is something for me to do around this healing thing, I'm not saying no. I'm not saying no. I am saying that I need to be okay while it unfolds.
Yeah, you will be.
They know that. And I tell them that. And I know that too.
Yeah.
I know that. I know that. And the perspective that I have now of just allowing it and learning and studying, they gave me a beautiful download that was very specific. And I've listened to that a bunch of times. I'm trying to get a feeling for what it means and how would it be to be. I'm doing all I can do. I'm bringing everything that I can bring to the table. I'm bringing it.
What we've gotten probably in the last 2 years is that we've all gotten this information so that we could learn how to manifest, to get what we want. And of course, when you want something, you're really lacking it. So you're in the vibration of lack. But anything that you can think that you want, any way that you could imagine it, it's in a box that someone's done before. So if I look at Esther and imagine being on stage with 3,000 people, it's just what she's done before.
Right.
What I'm learning now is that what we can manifest is unimaginable. We have a new vibration. We have a new way of thinking. We are not attached to ideals or outcomes, and we just let things happen, and they become unimaginable. And so what we're experiencing at whatever level we've gotten to are experiences no other humans ever had before. That's what we want. We do not want anything we can imagine, because that's just a replay of something else we've seen somewhere else. It's nothing new. What we want is the unimaginable.
I love that.
Yeah. And to get there, you just got to realize and work on it and do the work so that you can see yourself as one who is worthy of that.
Yeah.
That who am I question.
And then I love a visual that they give me all the time. They put in my head is tripping and falling and face planting, coming up with bloody knees and a bloody nose, and you're holding it. It isn't about never tripping and falling. It's about how much time does it take you to find the energy of, okay, what's in this for me?
100%.
What's the cool thing that's going to happen because of this? Right now, I'm supposed to fly to Florida with 2 couples. We're renting a house on Thursday, and there's a goddamn nor'easter coming in. And this morning, I could feel my inner self feeling a little anxiety about that, because what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. So I spoke with my inner child, that part of my humanity. And I said, it's okay to be worried, honey. You get to be worried. Because when you can hold those emotions in love and freedom, you're not creating more worry. You're creating the ability to express yourself. You're creating all the good stuff. People are like, because I'm all about teaching, feel your feelings. I lived 60 years of my life not feeling any of the negative end of the continuum. Stuff it, stuff it. Good Christian girls don't do that stuff. And so now I'm learning that if you can hold yourself in love, if you let the part of you that is your divine self hold the part of you that is your human self, and just hold that person and let them feel this. And so I said to her, I brought her into my heart and I said, baby, you're going to be disappointed. You're going to be so disappointed if we don't get to do this trip. And that's okay. And that's okay. You know, there will be other trips, but you get to be disappointed about this one. It's okay to be disappointed. And I just owned that. And I could almost feel it lifting. I could almost feel it lifting. I couldn't grab onto, I think I asked it because I followed her a long time too. Sometimes when if you try to visualize something, you're too invested and you can almost feel that it's not good, but I can find my way right clearly to it's all going to work itself out for the highest good.
Sure.
And if I'm disappointed, it's okay. I get to be disappointed. And I'll probably buy myself a lobster and let myself get over it. You'll do what you're going to do to work yourself through your feelings, but I'm going to feel them.
Yeah.
I'm going to just feel them and it's okay. It's also okay to get to go.
It's okay to get to go.
Okay to get to go. I like the idea of that too.
That's great. All right.
it's
This has been amazing. We
It
have
has
to do this
been.
again sometime.
Really would love to meet Christy.
Yes. In fact, you guys could probably have a call together yourselves. That would be.
Oh, that would be lovely. Because it does sound like, as far as paths and gifts, it sounds like she and I are more alike than you and I. It sounds like that's what you said. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys are very much alike. And you're also been doing it for about the same amount of time.
Oh, she's a newbie too.
Sure is.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. November 2021, I believe.
Wow. Oh, my friggin' word.
Yeah,
It
something
was
like that.
November 2021 was when my counselor said to me, look up what it means to be an empath.
Yeah.
And when I dove into that side of the internet, there was no going back.
I
And
believe that was the year. Yeah.
It was January of 22 is when I channeled the first time.
For her, we were here at Thanksgiving, and one of our friends' grandmother came through. So it started with a medium for her. Too.
Yeah, it started with I channeled first, but I had a girl who was pulling me. She wanted to talk to her mom, and she was part of my journey. And the mediumship was a beautiful, validating part of my journey. It's just not something that I enjoy. It's too limiting. I explained it to people like this. It's like when I open, I do this. When I do mediumship, I do this. It's hard.
When she can bring in, and this just comes into her, but there will be famous people that come in just to talk with us that aren't called in. They're random. Yeah. We were at another retreat in March, and it was St. Patrick's Day. And I'm thinking, is St. Patrick going to come through tonight? And people are like, is St. Patrick a real person? I said, it's not the Easter Bunny or the Santa Claus. So what came through, out of a surprise, we're just hanging out by the pool, was Brian, King of Kings, who in the 900s brought all the clans together, united the clans.
Dan told me about this. Dan shared this with me.
That was amazing.
Amazing.
I got to ask all these questions.
Oh, that is so
about
cool.
His life and everything. And
so
it
cool.
was amazing.
I would imagine that it is facilitating to development to have a group of people that are almost bringing the gifts out. It's like that 3-minute mile thing. Once you know somebody can do it, it's if they can do it, I can do it. You know, I mean, we know it's not a gift. It's who we are.
It's abilities that you consciously brought into this life for a purpose to have an impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So interesting. Oh, I've enjoyed our chat.
Awesome. Fantastic.
I have so enjoyed it.
I will put a link to you in the description below, and we will schedule a call with Christy, and I'll send you all the information on the retreat.
Yay.
And we'll go from there.
Yay, yay, yay. All right.
So wonderful meeting you, Kelly.
Wonderful to meet you too.